If you're a beginner property investor, then this is the video for you. Even if you've already started this journey, I think some of the tips and some of the resources in this video are really going to help you. So we're really going to unpack exactly where you need to start if you're a beginner property investor. My name's Simon and I work for a buyer's agency called Pumped On Property based in southeast Queensland. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe by clicking the link below and follow our YouTube channel. If you've got any comments, please leave them in the section below. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Now, everybody's got to start somewhere, and in today's video, I really wanted to unpack where you really should be beginning if you're a property investor that's just beginning their journey. Now, there is so much happening in the Australian property market. You've got the news constantly talking about it. You've got so many YouTube videos and podcasts, and you've got friends, colleagues, family members that all have a story about property investing, and they all have an opinion on property investing. So it's so noisy out there, and you may be getting the wrong advice, you may be getting the right advice, but you don't know how to implement it. So today I want to unpack exactly what you need to do if you're at the very beginning of your journey. Now, the first place that you need to start is with education. Before you start looking on realestate.com, before you start really talking to anybody, you really need to understand how money works and how the Australian property market works. So there's a few books that really helped myself personally and so many people that I've talked with over the years to change their mindset on money and get a bit of an introduction to property investing, and that's Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, Robert's probably one of the most influential property investors and the most successful property investors of all time. He's Hawaiian and does mostly investing over in the United States, but he wrote this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a number of years ago, and it just completely warped my mind. It just changed my perspective on the world. It changed my perspective on money, and it really got me motivated to learn how to make money work for me instead of me having to work for money. I think that's one of the most important things. I remember when I was in year 10 at school, I had to read The Story of Tom Brennan, and after I finished Rich Dad, Poor Dad, my mind is blown. I'm just going, why didn't I get this book handed to me in year 10? Like, I should be learning about this stuff years and years and years ago. And whether you are 16 years old or you're 50 years old, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a must read if you haven't already done so. So go over to Amazon, get yourself a copy, go down to the local bookstore, grab yourself something, go over to the library and rent it out. It's a pretty small book, it's a very simple read, and I can guarantee you'll get so much value out of that. So that's Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. So go on over there and grab that one. The next book that I think you would benefit from is a more recent investment book written by an Australian bloke. And this one's called The Barefoot Investor. Now, I'm sure you've seen it on the bookstores. If you ever walked through an airport recently, you would have seen it everywhere. It was a bestseller in Australia for months and months and months on end. And it's an absolutely great book. Now, he kind of just breaks down different ways to budget, different ways to save more money, reduce your debts, and get yourself into a better situation. So if you're struggling with making a budget, you've got this money coming in, but you keep spending it all the time, and no matter how much your income goes up, all of those expenses continue to go up as well, then go and grab The Barefoot Investor. It's a really good introduction to learning how to make that money that's coming into your accounts, how to spend it the best possible way, and make sure that you're not overspending and making sure that you're setting yourself up for the future. So that one's The Barefoot Investor. So jump over there and grab that. Now that you've read these two, you kind of understand how money works, you understand that you kind of want to get into property investing, then the next book that you should be going out and getting is Mastering the Australian Housing Market by John Lindeman. This is kind of a timeless book where he educates you on what's worked best in Australian property in the past. He educates you on some different strategies that may work for you, and he gives you a bit of a better understanding of exactly how the Australian property market does actually work. So there's 3 absolute must reads: Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Barefoot Investor, and also Mastering the Australian Housing Market. So if you haven't read those 3 books yet, go out there and get them so you can begin to educate yourself. Another couple of things, even if you're at the very beginning of your journey or well and truly established throughout your investment journey, there's a couple of resources that you should definitely be following and subscribe to on a weekly and a monthly basis. Now, the first one is CoreLogic RP Data. These guys are Australia's leading property analysts, and you can jump over to their website, CoreLogic RP Data, and you can actually subscribe to their email list for free, and they'll send you updates and articles on a weekly or fortnightly basis. They're not spamming you with stuff all the time. All they do is add value and add value and add value. They'll teach you about the Australian economy, they'll teach you about the Australian property market, they'll educate you on different things that are occurring at that point in time and things that could impact your investment strategy and your investment decisions. So that is a must subscribe. Also, HTW. So that's H for Heron, T for Todd, W for White. Now, if you go into Google and type in HTW month in review, you can also subscribe to their emails, and they'll send you just 1 email a month. Once again, no spam, just value, once a month with 3 property reports. They cover commercial, they cover residential units and residential houses. And what they do in this report is they actually indicate which stage of the property cycle those particular markets are situated. So you can get a bit of an understanding of where different markets are in Australia at the moment. And they'll also write a pretty in-depth report. Every single month is kind of a different idea or a different focus, but still always relating to the Australian property market and key indicators that you should really be understanding. So that's a great way to keep your finger on the pulse with where the Australian property market is at that point in time. And this comes through every single month. So jump over there, HTW month in review, subscribe to their emails as well. Now, your next step is really going to be asking yourself the big questions. Why property investing? Now that you understand property investing because you've read these books and you've educated yourself about property investing, now it's time to ask yourself the question, why am I investing in property? Now, so many people, probably 90% of people, have a friend or a family member or a colleague that they trust that's telling them to do something. And you know, this can be a red flag. That shouldn't be the reason why you're investing in property, because you've been working for a number of years now, you've got a good deposit in your bank, you've got a good amount of savings, and you're like, well, what do I do with this? I'm getting a measly 1 to 2% on my money in the bank. Why don't I invest this? And then you go to your friend, you go to your family member, you go to your colleague, and they tell you about some great strategy, some great investment opportunity that they made some money off, or somebody that they knew made money off. Now, no, do not listen to these people. Sometimes it can be great, sometimes it's very important information, but unless these people are financially free themselves or well and truly in this journey themselves, you know, there's a few red flags. Personally, the reason that I'm property investing is to allow myself to achieve financial freedom. I'm investing in property so I can generate a passive income to replace the income that I'm earning so I don't have to go to work. Now, I love work. I'm passionate about property investing. I love this stuff. So it makes it easy to get up and go to work every single day. But I know that's not the case for most people out there. You want to get out of your job. You're sick to death of it. And a lot of people get caught chasing that short-term money. So it's time to switch your mindset from short-term to long-term so you can actually achieve your goals. So why property is really important. If you don't know why, sometimes it's good to say, well, I want to replace my income. That might be a good place to start. You know, rather than going, I want to own 100 properties and I want to be a multi-billionaire, and you know, you're sitting there and you're 50 years old and you haven't done anything yet. Sometimes, you know, it's time to reset those expectations and go, okay, well, what do I need in order to live the life that I want to live? And I'm like, I'm living a pretty damn good life right now, earning the income that I'm earning. So I want to replace that income through property investing so I don't have to worry about it. Once you've got your why, the next step is really nailing that strategy. Don't go into property investing blind. Don't go out there thinking that you can purchase any property and it's going to be the be all and all for you. You really need to understand the way that the Australian property market works. You also need to understand the strategy that you need to implement in order to achieve your longer term goals. So it's always great to start with the big picture. So once you've got your why, you move on to your strategy, start with the big picture, think 10, 15, 20 years down the line, long term, and get an understanding around, okay, what do I want to have in 10, 15, 20 years time? Think about the big picture. I want to replace my income. Okay, well, what do I need to do to achieve that? And then that's when you scale it back to right now and you think about, okay, what do I need to do next in order to achieve those goals? And then you need to absolutely obsess about achieving that goal. Now, depending where you're at right now, if you are starting from the very beginning and you don't have a budget in place, once you've scaled it back, that is your immediate next step. You need to put a budget in place so that you can begin saving away and getting your deposit ready. If you're a little bit further along that journey and you've got your deposit ready, what you want to start doing is finding your mentors, finding your team of advisors that are going to help you make the right decisions at the right time. Now, when I talk about a mentor, when I talk about a good team of advisors, I mean people that are along this journey already. They've executed this strategy. They may even already be financially free. Not the person that heard something on the 7 o'clock news last night and is pretending that they are the number one property investor in the world. You want people that have got experience, you want people that are on the same journey as you, and most importantly, you want somebody that's got a value alignment with you. You want to find somebody that you can have a conversation with, that you trust, and you know that they're the right partner for you because there's that value alignment there. I think that's one of the most important aspects when you are building your team. Not only do you want them to be a high performer and somebody that can get the job done, you also want to have a value alignment with them so that they have your best interests at the top of mind. So this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It's going to take you months. It could take you years. So take your time. Remember that you're setting up your insurance policy for your future. Nobody became financially free easily. It takes work, it takes effort, it takes sacrifice, and it takes some hard decisions and some tough decisions to be made. So make sure that you dedicate the time to it. Treat property investing like a business, and like any business, you need to be making money. So make sure that you are executing all of these steps. Make sure that you've educated yourself. Make sure you know your why. Make sure you really understand your strategy from a big picture and also next step in order to achieve those longer term goals. Make sure you're finding the right team, and most of all, make sure that you are confident in your decision. Make sure that you know that this next decision, this next purchase is going to be the right one for you. And if you do have all of those pieces covered, I can guarantee you'll have the confidence that you need, you'll have the skills that you need, you'll have the education that you need, and you'll have the team to help you successfully execute on this. So I hope you guys have liked the video today. If you have, give it a like, give me a comment, let me know what your thoughts are. If you are at the beginning of your journey and you're not really sure how to begin, or you're already got your deposit together and you're looking at some different ideas of how to get a strategy together, we actually do have a buyer's agency as well, where we help a small number of people invest in the Australian property market every single month. If you want a little bit more information about that, head over to www.pumpedonproperty and have a little bit of a look. You can also book in a strategy session with myself, Simon, or my brother Ben, and we'll spend an hour with you talking about your situation, your goals, the Australian property market, some different strategies, and just have a bit of a conversation to get things started. So thanks so much for listening, guys. Enjoy your day.